I've had a number of questions about examples just like this one, so I'm going to walk you through how examples like this one would work. Alright, so at the very beginning, you want to look at the information they give you. So we know that quadrilateral ABCD is congruent to quadrilateral EFGH. So what I'm going to do here is, if you notice first of all, this quadrilateral, the first one and the second one, they're in different positions. The second one's been rotated. So what I'm going to have to do is figure out what goes with what. I'm going to color code Jangle. So I'm going to start with the first one. I'm going to go with a different color for the second one. Different color for the third one. And the fourth one. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through with my colors and color these each respective colors. So for A, notice I went with this. For E, it's also going to be this. For B and F, I went with orange. For C and G, I went with blue. And then for D, I went with green. And D and H. This is half the battle here. Thing is, if you know what goes with what, it can make things a lot easier when you're trying to find the specific values here. Now, if I take a look, first thing I also want to realize here is that all quadrilaterals, their interior angles have to add up to 360 degrees. So if I look at this first quadrilateral here, I know that everything in here has to add up to 360. I'm given 28. I'm given 135. I get 90 from the square there. It indicates that's a right angle. And then there's one that I'm missing right here, C. So I'll even call this plus C equals 360. So what I can do to solve for C is I'm just going to add my numbers up. So 90 plus 135 gives me 225. Plus 28 gives me 253. Plus C equals 360. Now to solve for C, I'm just going to subtract 253 on each side. And I get C is going to equal 107 degrees. So you might be thinking, why am I solving for this? They're asking me to solve for x. Well, the key here is it's always good to solve for anything that's easy. In this case, I have 3 angles here. All I need is the 4th angle. This might help me out. And look what's going to happen. It will help me out. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to just shove it off to the side because I'm going to need this probably in a little bit. So I'm just going to tuck that away. Now they want me to solve for x. So what I can do is I can look around to see the information I have. So let's take a look. I've got an expression here with x. 10x plus 65. And you'll notice that I colored that in orange. Now my orange angles are congruent. So if I look to the other side here, I find my other orange angle is B, which is 135 degrees. So I can plug in 135. And now it's just a matter of solving like a 2-step equation. Subtract 65 on each side. I get 2x equals 70. Divide each side by 10. And I get x equals 7. So I'm halfway there. Now I just have to solve for y. So if you notice, I colored this in pink. So I'm going to go with a different color here. I'll go with pink. 4y minus 4. And then I look over to here where my pink angle is, and I get 28. And then it's just a matter of solving for y. Add 4 to each side, and I get 4y equals 32. Divide each side by 4, and I get y equals 8. So half the battle here is when you're given a problem like this, if you're told what's congruent, colors are a good way of doing it. You can use shapes. You can put different shapes around the angles. Like I could do these in squares. Maybe I want to do my B's in little triangles here. Any sort of code that you can use to know what's going to be congruent to what. because that'll ultimately help you set up these expressions that'll allow you to solve for x and y, or rather equations. You're not setting up expressions, you're setting up equations. Because you're going to be doing the same thing here for number 10. It's going to be a very similar situation. But if you're stuck, just go with what I did. Figure out what lines up with what, and set up equations which help you solve for it, just like I did here with 9. Best of luck.